time. It's Monday. It's the 29th of June. And it's time for Patio Stories here. Oh, shoot. Sorry. You know, it's California. We do have mandatory masks outside, but cat? Nah, it's good. Okay. Okay. Real quick. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna have some wine. We're gonna go. I love that all you guys are joining right now. Thank you. We're on my patio, as you know. We've told a lot of stories out here. I even had my hair cut out here. I always have my special guest, Dar, short for Dar es Salaam, capital city of Tanzania, which has my heart as well as this little feline. Right, Dar? Okay, enough of Dar. So I wanted to share a couple things here because I've been really excited there. We locked down in COVID. People are finding new passions. I always like to cook. I love food, but as a traveler, having a garden, even having a cat, at least cats are a little more independent, is always a challenge. But I've always grown like cherry tomatoes on the patio, and they've always worked until I got traveling, and then, they just kind of fall and add to the fertilization for next year. But check this stuff out here. Let's see. Okay, so this is just a little planter right here of some herbs that I use in cooking. We've got some oregano, I got some thyme, a little bit of parsley, flat leaf, some basil. This is a lettuce that you can see you pinch it and it comes right back. Cilantro, that's catnip, believe it. This is lemongrass, more lettuce. The tomatoes, man, look at these guys. These guys are really rocking right now, and it's just July 1. Even in here, these are kind of some little cherries. Look at, they're already turning red. This one's a little young. This is a bell pepper. We won't be seeing any action for this probably in another 2 weeks. But the real cool stuff is this right here. I never did this before. This plant is out of control. This is a Persian cucumber plant, You know what I'm talking about? Persian cucumber. They're the little sweet ones, less seeds. And, here's one back in here that's just, tomorrow that'll be ready to go. And then he's got a brother right here. That'll take a few more days. But they're all over. There's a little guy here, up here. Look at this little guy. And this thing has gone so out of control wild. I didn't know, you have to trellis this stuff. It's falling down the side of my patio. I got this huge trellis that originally I just bought this little guy. I'm like, you're dreaming, Allan. So anyway, that's just a little bit about the, the garden. But let's get in. We got a couple stories we've really got to focus in on today. Some breaking news, big news. Some of you may already know what's going on. Let's get this stuff off. Much better. Okay. How you feeling today? Huh? Pretty good? It's Monday. And right now it's about almost 6 o'clock here in California. Andre, nice to see you. Good beat. Tidbits of love, that's what I am all about. And Danny, thank you as well for tuning in. I'm actually doing a rosé from Spain. Yeah, Domaine de Masquez. Is it France? I don't even know. No, this is a French. This is a Provence. Good. It's a Provence rosé. They make the best rosé. Let's face it. So here's to Monday afternoon and to another episode of Patio Stories. Lovely. I got a bit of a little, some prosciutto, some salami, some cheeses. So please grab a glass of wine and let's get into this here a little bit. So, rather than telling you a story from around the world, I'm going to tell you a story from my own backyard, and not the patio either. Okay? So, right after the last episode, number 5 of Patio Stories, when my brother Jonathan Karl, the White House correspondent for ABC News, whose new book is breaking sales records, front row at the Trump show. He kind of popped in, and for a bit there was a special guest as I was telling a story from Egypt. We're planning on doing a joint interview. He interviews me about my book and my travels, and I'm going to interview him about his book and his experience as a White House and a Capitol Hill reporter. But that's not what we're doing today, but that's coming, so stay tuned for that. What I want to talk about is after that Instagram Live Patio Stories episode, I took a long walk, went down and watched the sunset on the beach. I came back and I did about a 30-minute workout, got to keep fit. So it was a great, walking was warm up. I did a little high intensity workout. And then I cooked myself dinner. I sat down and watched the news, see if Jonathan was reporting from the White House that day. And I record all the news shows, and other things. Anyway, I had a couple glasses of wine with dinner. I was sitting there watching, and at some point I stood up from my chair. It's like a big one of those club chairs, cozy leather, nice. Good place just to lounge at the end of the night. And when I got up, I started walking sideways, and I tried to straighten myself out, and I couldn't. I mean, this is like, it was crazy. I said, wait a minute, I've only 2 glasses of wine? Maybe I was pushing 3. Not unusual for WorldRider on that was, I guess, a Thursday or Friday night. We were doing Patio Stories then. And I sat back down again and kind of readjusted myself, and I got up. And then I walked right, as I went into the hallway right here, which leads to the bedroom, the office, and the bathroom, I ran right into the door jamb. I'm like, okay, let's try that again. And I managed to balance, grab the door jamb, make my way. And I said, this is really weird. So I turned around, I went back into the living room, and I sat back down on the chair and repeated it again, 3rd time. Same thing. I'm like not even being able to walk straight, and I'm not falling or anything. So then I decided I should lie down on the couch. So I lie down on my sofa right here, and then things get really weird. The whole room starts spinning, and I'm telling you, this is like a kaleidoscope wheel, except what's moving here is everything in the room, mostly because there is a glowing LED glow of the television. It's going around me like a film strip, and I'm like rubbing my eyes, opening up, and everything is spinning, and I think, oh my God, I'm having an aneurysm. Something in my brain is screwing with my vision and my balance. Or am I having a stroke? I have no idea. I get up again, everything's cockeyed, and I'm making my way, and I try to go to my laptop to see if I can look symptoms for aneurysm or stroke, and it's very hard to focus on the screen because I'm in this wacky mode. So I decide I think I should go to the hospital. So I grab my keys and I start to walk out the door, and as I walk out the door, I just kind of bump into it again. I'm like, wait a minute, you are not going to be driving anywhere anytime soon. So I live alone, except with Dar, the cat, and my little stray that I rescued as well. That's Dice. He's hanging out, wants to probably come out and eat my cheese here in a minute. So I just call 911. I explain what's going on. They within seconds they're dispatching an ambulance. So where I live, here near San Diego, it's where this backyard is. It's like impossible to find. Google GPS will never find it. It's kind of nice because it's secluded back here. It's so green. I'm thinking there's no way the ambulance is going to find me. Now, normally in the days pre-COVID, I would be able to call an Uber or a Lyft. And instead of trying to get them to navigate up here, I just walk. And there's a steep hill here that leads you down to a more accessible, easily GPS findable street. So I decide that I'm going to not wait for the ambulance. And I start walking, grab a flashlight. It's dark. This is about 10:30 at night. And I managed to like zigzag as if I was skiing, traversing down a mountain. I get to the bottom of the street just as I see the red lights and hear the sirens, and they are startled. They say, "Oh, are you the Is it your house? I said, no, I'm the patient. That's right, I'm the patient. So, they do a few little quick tests. They take blood pressure. They they don't take a stretcher or anything out of the ambulance, but I climb in and lie down on there, and they're on the radio to the emergency room at Scripps Medical Center, and they're chatting back and forth, and I hear them. They say they're going to go on stroke alert. They're going on stroke alert, like as if I'm having a stroke. So sure enough, it's very close to the hospital, but I get there, and there is like 5 people waiting. I mean, it was like a welcoming committee. Now, they did insist when I called on 911 that I have a mask. So I had my mask. Anyway, I get into the emergency room, and, after a few quick, what's your name, date of birth, social security number, et cetera, they rush me into the CAT scan. They give me angiograms. They give me 2 different kinds of CAT scans. And then they put me in a room, and they hook me up to an IV, start hydrating me, and then they start taking vials and vials and vials of blood. I think 6. Not that many, but it's a lot of, they're taking some blood. And then they try to give me, a couple pills for dizzy medication of some sort. And something else, I forget. But within about 30 seconds of that, the nausea just sets in, the room starts spinning, and I throw up. So that medicine didn't go anywhere. At that moment, the doctor comes in and says, "You're not going anywhere tonight. I thought maybe we could get you home if this mellowed out. You're staying here. We're putting you on watch." So after a few hours, and of course every hour they're coming in to take vital signs from me, and at this point I just want to sleep and not open my eyes because things are blurry and cockeyed. But they put me up into a room, and by the morning I see the doctor, and all the tests, the CAT scans, the angiograms, everything looks good. They say, "Allan, don't worry, there's nothing between your ears." And I'm like, well, I kind of already knew that, right? No, meaning there's no problem in the brain. There's no aneurysm. There's no stroke. There are other blood tests that test for certain things within your body. The names of them I can't even remember. Thanks for joining. Somebody new just popped in. Andrew, good to see you, man. We're talking about an episode I had right after the last Patio Stories episode that I did here on this patio when my brother came on. But anyway, I'm in the hospital as well, catching up. The doctor says nothing, no problem with the CAT scan. We think that it's probably an inner ear thing. And I talked to another nurse later, and she mentioned something about vertigo. I'd never heard of vertigo, other than I know that sometimes when people look down from steep heights that they get dizzy. Vertigo. But no, vertigo has so many other kinds. There's a whole, laundry list of different types of vertigo. This particular one they thought would be related to crystals in my inner ear. But, they said you're going to have to go see your doctor and probably get referred to a specialist, maybe an ear, nose, throat guy, whatever it is. So they finally let me leave about 2 o'clock the next day. I'm still, and this is about almost 2 weeks ago. I am still even sitting here telling you this story lightheaded, and often, if I lift my head really fast one way, I have to catch myself in my step. So it's some sort of a vertigo-related inner ear balance issue. My primary care physician, who I saw that week, referred me to a neurologist. And this neurologist is located near downtown San Diego. And this is where the story gets interesting, okay? So this guy has made it his life's work, his mission, and his passion is treating people with vertigo. And apparently, some people have it and it never goes away. Some people have it and they never get it again. Others battle with it as like a cluster of things that happen on a regular or irregular basis. So I don't know if you've known anybody who's ever had a vertigo episode. Since I've had this, the people I know who know somebody or have had it themselves keep coming out of the woodwork. So it's encouraging to hear the stories of recovery, because I'm still not right. But what this guy has done is he's optimized. He's got a machine that he didn't invent. It was invented by a Dr. Epley, which there is a maneuver, by the way. And if you know anybody who's done vertigo and had maybe with a physical therapist or an ear, nose, throat guy, there's some twists and turns to the head and the body that you can do, and to shake these crystals that get loose in your ear canal, causing you to think that you're moving when you're not. But he has this chair that looks like when you get seated in this chair, it looks you're getting in a fighter jet, because it's got a harness that you lock you in. Anyway, there's only 9 of these chairs in the United States, and he has 2 of them. So you can imagine this guy got so passionate. But what was so warming to me as I got to this guy, his name is Ian Purcell, Dr. Purcell, there in San Diego, is he's on the 2nd floor of a medical building, and it's like all these medical buildings, I can never find the stairs. There were no stairs, and I'm like, 2 floors, I don't need to take an elevator. Well, I take the elevator because I can't find the stairs, and it gets up, and as the doors open on the elevator, right in front of me is a vintage 1930s 40s maybe motorcycle, a Bonneville of a Triumph. And I think it's a Bonneville. I'll have to clarify that at another time. But it's sitting there on display with lots of pictures of Steve Mcqueen. Now, you may remember Steve Mcqueen, the actor who left us many years ago, was an avid motorcyclist, an avid motocrosser, and he filmed this great movie, several great movies, but The Great Escape, which took place in World War II, and overseas, I think in Germany. He was a prisoner, and they break out of this prison camp. That's The Great Escape, and he's on a motorcycle, and it's either that same motorcycle been restored, or it's just a replica of that, or not necessarily a replica, but another version of the vintage bike. So he's got pictures of Steve Mcqueen all around. He even has these boots sitting on the floor that next time I go see him, I've got to ask, I got to get some more information. But the guy's a total daredevil too, because not only is there a Triumph motorcycle vintage in pristine shape, he's got this other thing that is like a jetpack. You remember the Jetsons, right? Or you've probably seen videos of somebody strapping on a harness with a rocket basically on the back, and you hold the thing and you go, and it thrusts and it pushes you around, and you can fly under power, under this jetpack. He's got one of them in there, and he's flown it. He's got pictures of him flying it several times in his office. So I'm thinking, if I picked, it was a referral to me, but if I could have picked the best doctor, at least with an adventurous spirit, this is the guy. He's got all these photos of fighter jets and astronauts, and it looks like he may have been in the Air Force or somewhere in the armed forces, because there's certain badges and coins and things like that military personnel are very used to and know. They all have very big meaning. But he's got a lot of photographs of this. And think about it. If you're in a fighter jet, you know that is a potential place where I've heard, or in a fast jet like that, where you might experience vertigo. Especially if you're doing some loops or things like that. Yeah, can I ride with my vertigo diagnosis? I don't feel comfortable about riding with right now. Actually, I did a random act of kindness, and delivered some chicken soup that I made here, homemade soup, to a woman in ICU in a hospital that a friend of mine knows her and is in New York, and wrote to me and says, do you know any way I could get chicken soup delivered to Palomar Medical Center? And I said, well, you know what? I'll do it. I'll make the soup and do it. And she says, oh, will you deliver it on your motorcycle? And I said, no, I'm not going to deliver it on my motorcycle. There's a video of that delivery, though. I did go in the Forks van. But no, I don't feel right because of the balance. So I'm hoping, I'll continue. So this chair I'm at Dr. Purcell's office. They use this chair to treat as well as diagnose vertigo inner ear systems, and it's very high tech. So basically, he straps you in like a harness, like you're in a race car or in a jet fighter, and then he puts goggles on you. And one side of the goggles is fitted with a macro camera, and there's a camera. And it's taking a video of your eye, that close to your eye. And then the other one they close with a little, a blinder. And then they proceed to tell you to close your eyes, and then they push some buttons, and then this chair moves. It's on 2 axes, so it can go up and down, and then sideways and this way. So they can do all these different moves. And after they do the move, they say, open your eyes, don't blink. They're watching the eye because they can tell by the eye movements. And they're isolating eye movements based on moving one of those or causing you to adjust your inner balance through one of the 4 ear canals. So there's 4 inner canals that I guess balance to the left, to the right, and then up and down. And it's got diagrams, and they can see this. And they use this to try to determine if there were crystals. We all have crystals in our ears, and every once in a while, who knows, maybe an infection. Surfers get this sometimes because of, or swimmers. There are other people that are prone to ear infections may have vertigo because that infection causes a crystal to dislodge, and then it gets stuck in the canal because there's tiny little hairs in that canal. And when that crystal is stuck, your body thinks that you're moving when you're not, and then that gives you that vertigo sensation. So they go through this, and they're turning me this way. And by the way, I have a video of this, of course, and probably in my next Journeys webcast. If you're not watching those, go check them out, journeyswebcast.com, or send me a message through Instagram with your email, and I'll get you a link to the room when we do the next one. I'm actually interviewing another motorcycle adventurer next Monday, the 6th of July, I think it is. She's South African. Her name is Jo Rust. Maybe you've heard of her, but she's actually a teacher of adventure riding authorized through BMW. But she's South African. She's got a very unique story because she was really a hardcore bicyclist, and a strange twist in her life found her without a bicycle, but happened upon a motorcycle, and it's changed her life. But anyway, they twist and turn me around in this whole chair motion, and they're trying to see if I've got this crystal problem, loose crystals stuck in an ear canal causing this sensation. When it's all said and done, they show me a video of the eye, and they're like, it moves, it's making these weird movements that they're watching, but it's not doing this one where it kind of rolls almost into the back of your head that they were looking for. I forget the term they used, but it wasn't doing it. So at the end, there was no treatment for me because the diagnosis was there's no crystal. Now, that doesn't mean there wasn't one there before, or there won't be one there again. But for me, at that point, there was nothing there. So, not to get all detailed into the medical treatment plan that they're kind of setting up, but I do have to go in and get an MRI of the head. They're going to look and see this other nerve. They also think that it might be a viral. There might be a viral infection, not a COVID kind of virus, but a... hi there, Margaret. Endurolandia, nice. Thanks for joining in. I'm telling a story. I had an episode of Vertigo, which scared the hell out of me. Thought I was having a stroke or a brain aneurysm about 2 weeks ago. But anyway... I'm sharing the story about the doctor I actually saw this morning, and he has a motorcycle. He is a fighter pilot fan, an astronaut fan, and he has a jetpack that he straps on his back, and he can fly around in it. I'm not kidding. It's freaking amazing. But they don't. At least right now, there's no crystals to be addressed, so they can't perform any additional Epley maneuvers on me. So they think it could be viral, so they gave me an antiviral medication, and they also gave me a steroid of some sort. I don't remember the name of it, but this steroid will upset your stomach, so then they give me this other pill, so that at least while I'm taking the one pill, I'm not getting an upset stomach. So it's like, I got 3 things, so I got to do this for... the antiviral, I believe, you take 6 the first day, 5 the second day, 4 the third day, all the way down to the last day you just take 1. And so that lasts for about a week. Probably 6 days, maybe 6 days or a week, 6 or 7 days. And then the steroidal, I think I take for 3 weeks. Not the steroidal, but the steroidal, and then the other. What the hell are they giving me? I don't know. The antiviral I'll take for 3 weeks. The steroidal is only for 6 or 7. So, anyway, wacky experience. I don't wish it upon anybody. Right now, I feel lightheaded. I can walk. I don't trip. I don't stumble. But every once in a while, like if I go down to pick something up off the ground and come up really fast, for that moment, I got to go, whoa, that's a little weird. No nauseous, but crazy feeling. Or if I turn my head really fast to see something behind me. So something is wacky in the ear, at least related to the inner ear, when I'm moving in rapid movements. So I didn't want to burn a lot of time on the patio. Of course, although I do have a glass of wine, so maybe there is a story. But for the story right now, it's pretty scary to be perfectly good, work out. I walked 4 miles that day. Did a high intensity workout. I asked him. I says, "What about my high intensity workout?" Because I was doing some heavy aerobics, right? So I was moving a lot, shaking my head probably. I'm wondering, did I jar one of those crystals, and why was it loose and that? But as he said, it's like, who knows? We don't know. You don't know. We'll never know. What happened is what happened. Now we just got to see if it's a recurring problem or if it was a viral problem. He's pretty confident that's what it is. And hopefully in a few days, few weeks, it'll be perfectly fine, because I want to get back on that motorcycle. I mean, don't you guys want to, whether you're a motorcycle rider or not, even though our crazy world, our cases are growing in California and in many places in the U.S. for this COVID madness. I think the 4th of July is coming up, and I thought, wow, when I first went on my first long trip, my 3-year trip around the world, I left my home on the 4th of July because it had this symbolic notion of independence. I was just going to go off and ride the world. I didn't know how long I was going to go, how many miles I'd log, how many pictures I'd take, how many hotel rooms I'd stay, how many nights I'd be in my tent. So I was thinking, God, 4th of July, I wanted to get on the bike this coming weekend or week and ride up to the big sequoia trees here in California, Sequoia National Park, because it's open now. So is Yosemite, but Yosemite, apparently you've got to have a pass. It's like they're really limiting that. But Sequoia seems to be pretty chill. And I thought I'd love to go up there and camp for a couple days. Camp, cook food on the fire, hike around those big trees, just chill by myself and be with nature. Because I've been locked here, I've been on this patio, and believe me, I love this. I do walk every day to the beach. It's very close here, and usually for sunset if I can catch it. And I'll do that after this call, actually, after this Patio Stories episode. So I really wanted to go, but I feel like even when driving today, my van, down to the doctor, it still felt funny, It's weird, and it's this, it's one of these Sprinter vans, and I'm up really high, so it's not that it's Vertigo high-esque, but it's just like, I don't feel right. But who knows? Maybe this antiviral kicks in and slowly. People that have had it, one guy said to me, it's kind of like a concussion, and he used that not like the symptoms or anything else, but you really just have to wait in time. It goes away, right? Like what I've heard, somebody once said that this COVID virus was just going to go away. So maybe this virus, wherever it is, something in my head is just going to go away. But I think and I'm not using hydroxychloroquine, by the way, just so you know. I'm using an antiviral, and I've got a steroidal that has no relationship to the hydroxychloroquine, blah, blah. But anyway, that's just an inside joke. So have you ever had vertigo? Have you ever known somebody to have it? Do they ever get it again? Did they have the Epley maneuver and that fixed it? Or did they use some homeopathic essential oils? What is the pollution? One, and it's so nice because I sent out a notice today. Usually on Mondays, I'm doing the Journeys webcast at 3 o'clock, usually around 3. And that Journeys webcast for the last 3 months, every Monday, for 11 straight Mondays, I've had great guests from all over the world. And when I sent out my usual update and say, who's my guest for the next week, I sent this out the other day. I said there's going to be no Journeys webcast because I had this doctor's appointment today. I had to get strapped into that wild, fighter jet chair and get turned upside down and sideways while they try to figure out what's going on in WorldRider's head. What's going on? So, man, no Journeys webcast. But I said, hey, I had this episode, and actually in the last Journeys webcast, last Monday, with Andro Barnovi. He's the Georgian winemaker that used to be a NATO, he was the governor of the region. He was the chief of staff to the president of Georgia, the country of Georgia. But at the beginning of that webcast, I explained about this episode because it happened just 2 days before. And anyway, in my letter this week, I basically said, I had this weird thing. I'm working on it. We're going to get it fixed. But for now, no webcast today. But I did get motivated here to share the story because a lot of people have been responding to that email and asking, how am I doing? What's going on? And also people who have known others or had the vertigo experience themselves. One guy said he had it about 4 years ago, and he doesn't remember how long it lasted, but he hasn't had any problems since. So, and it just went away without any medication. I'm on some, as I said, some drugs. Not very good ones. Not the fun kind. So, leave a comment here. Let's see. Oh, yes, Margaret, I know you, but you don't go by Margaret because you and I have chatted. You're up in Sacramento area, I think. I follow you on Instagram and I see your kids, and thank you. I love you. And in Durolandia, you're from Colombia. Oh, I love Colombia. Medellin. And actually, the cool little town. Here's a story inspired by you, in Durolandia. I've got great stories. There is a story where I had a run-in with some rebels in the jungle somewhere on the road on the way to Pasto. But that's not the story I'll tell. I will tell that story sometime. But I was in a little town called Popoyan, right? You know where it is. Popoyan. It's a college town. It's colonial. It's got, it's a small city, but it's cozy. I really liked it. I loved to walk around Popoyan. The people were so friendly. And one morning I got up, and there's great coffee in Colombia too. And I'm walking past, and I'm getting the waft of this beautiful aromas of fresh baked bread. And it is just enticing. This is like, I love the smell of gluten in the morning. And I'm drawn to this, so I track that smell down, and I go into this bakery, and there's these 3 or 4 cute women, all dressed in uniforms. They're just dolls. I speak a bit of Spanish, no problem, and I ask, what's the best, ¿Cuál es mejor pancito? And they pointed to these little kind of rolls. They were like roll sized. and it was coffee bread. So not coffee cake, which has a lot of butter and a lot of good things, but also bad for you kind of things. But I love, man. My mom makes the most amazing coffee cake. But this is coffee bread. So somehow they're flavoring the coffee with they're flavoring the bread with coffee. And I said, okay, and they were little, so I said, give me 3 of them. And I took those things, like, in a little brown bag, little sack, and I'm walking around, and just everybody is smiling. Colombian people are so friendly. Oh my goodness. And I take a pull off of one of those bread rolls. And I take a pull off of the coffee. And I put the coffee down. And I take another bite of that bread. It is absolutely the best bread I have ever had. And to this day, and I don't know, maybe the bread baker of Popoyan in Durlandia. I want to know how to make that bread. But really, the real answer is I should just go back to Colombia and make a journey on my bike again to Popoyan. But yeah, and the other place that's quite remarkable, as for those of you who've never been to Colombia, Popoyan's not going to be on a list of tourist places. Probably it is a college town, and they do have a very old bridge that is a landmark. It's like almost a UNESCO-esque World Heritage Site, and it has quite a story that goes over a river. It's a small bridge, and that's another thing that if there is something on the tourist list of things to see in Popayan, that's probably there. But Colombia is so friendly. There is a place called Armenia. This is in what they call the Cafetera. So we're talking about coffee. So they've designed a road that goes through all of the coffee plantations, or not all of them, but it's a great thing in this little town of Armenia, which is a little village, and it's surrounded by coffee plantations, and there's little coffee farms that you can stay at. Really great stuff for reasons to go to Colombia, and beyond seeing them, Cartagena, Bogota, and Medellin. There's so many other little pockets of wonder that you can find, particularly in the Andes. I love the mountains of Colombia for sure, because that's where the Bogota, Popayan, to a degree Medellin, anyway, yeah, good stuff. So thanks for tuning in from Colombia. Let's see. Oh, amazing stories. It's amazing I can remember. I always used to think when I went on that first journey, is like, am I going to forget everything? So I was very religious about writing things down, because I always would read other travelers and see people speaking and how they could have this almost magnetic memory of things just stick to you. And I thought, is that me? And you know what? It is. I think what you do is, when experiences get emblazoned, you're not just reading, and that's implanted in you, it's easy. Yeah, there's a ton of towns I went through I'll never remember the name in, but there are certain triggers that make memory really work for you. And as a storyteller, I have trained myself to look and be more observant and able to bring color and depth and richness to a story. And for me, I do, even though I shared this story today about the chair and being tilted, and that's right here in my backyard. It's kind of an adventure, but typically for me to find stories, I want to be inspired. So I like to go to places that really push me outside my comfort zone, that make me challenge myself to be comfortable in my uncomfortableness, if you can understand that. But anyway, this is the 6th Patio Story episode, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's look at the old clock. It's 6:30. So what have we been on here? About a half an hour or so? Does it tell us? Is there a clock on here? It's got to be, right? Well, I don't see a clock. I know it tells me when we've been on too long, That's for sure. You only get an hour on these. And by the way, next Monday, a week from today, not only will I have Joe Rust on as a Journey's webcast guest, but I am going to be participating once again. This will be my 5th time on Ryan Pyle, you know, the TV host and producer. He does Extreme Treks, Tough Rides Brazil, Tough Rides China, Tough Rides India. Excuse me, I've got a cat here. Dice, you want to come? Come here. Come on. Come on. As I said, I've got cats here. Come here. Come here. This is the little stray. I thought it was feral, but that's Dice. And Dice and Dar barely get together. Dar is not very happy having this other cat in the house. So I am looking for someone to adopt Dice. Dice is a he. He is about 1.5 years old. I took him to the vet. No chip, but love that cat. But I do have to call it quits with him, just for better lives for both of them. But anyway, Ryan Pyle has has an Instagram Live. He does it almost every day with different guests and talking. So I'm going to be his guest Monday at 10 a.m. California time. RyanPyle. He's an amazing motorcycle adventurer. He's a trekker. He's a mountain climber. He's an amazing photographer. And he's been on my podcast before. He's been on my webcast. You know, we are kindred spirits. And we've had so many great calls. And that's why I know that they ended an hour, because we're always like, oh my God, it's an hour is up. And we're still sharing stories back and forth. So if you want to tune in, you know, follow Ryan Pyle on Instagram and go ahead and see us on Monday. But definitely, I don't have a registration page up yet for the Joe Rust. But if you send me a private message here on Instagram, or send me a message through my website at worldrider.com/blog, there's a contact form there. My Facebook page at WorldRider, you can send me a message there with your email address, and I'll put you on the list for Monday with Joe Rust, an amazing solo female adventure rider. She could outride me any day from the videos I've seen with her, and hopefully we'll share some of those videos. She is an amazing rider. She is super smart and cute and badass. Badass for sure, if I can say that. So that'll be done Monday at Journeys. Ryan Pyle will be before that. But anyway, cats, it's a beautiful day here in California. I'm going to walk to the beach for the sunset. And I want to thank all of you for tuning into these patio stories, these live stories. And of course, I will repurpose this. It'll go up on YouTube. So for some of you who came in late, or if you think it was a good time, share it to somebody else. And hey, if you haven't done this, do me a favor. Go to YouTube, search for WorldRider, find my channel, and subscribe. You don't get a lot of, stuff, but I've been putting more and more stuff up on YouTube, so there's really some cool stuff there. Not only are the replays there, but I'm pulling videos from my tribe. I've been living vicariously with myself because I have so much video content from last summer when I was in Georgia and Ukraine and Romania and Bulgaria, and from Serbia, Croatia, so, I mean, all kinds of stuff. And but to get more notice on YouTube, it's just one of those algorithm things, but I need 1,000 subscribers, and I need people to be watching and commenting. So go over there and subscribe if you haven't already. Make a comment on one of those videos and like it. It really makes a difference. So that's the story from Allan Karl WorldRider Patio here. Just another kind of journey. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And these are spontaneous. Who knows when the patio story is. I'll see you at the Journeys webcast. Thank you. I love all of you. Cheers. Happy Monday.